Sci-Fi Express Lane. May the 4th be with you. Oh yeah, you like how I twisted that. Anyway, I'm about to express myself. Was talking about my blog from yesterday about remakes and I guess, I don't know, the conversation evolved, right? So anyway, today I want to talk about how remakes and racial character swapping can be good, okay? Can make things more interesting. When you write a character in a situation, the race of the character, the economics of the character, the personality of the character dictate how the story will unfold. If the character is short-tempered, the character is humorous. If the character is black, white, religious, the story will be different. A meteor crash. I mean, the challenges can be the same, but the story will be different. Meteorite crashes, and people get out. How a angry person will behave. Shoot, you can run through the calendar. You know how every astrological sign will react would be different, right? Because people are different. Fat people, skinny people, short people, tall people, are all going to be different. So I'll take two stories that made me think of this, or that we referenced in our conversation. Seems like I talk sci-fi every day, which I like, right? Because I even got another blog that I want to say maybe today or tomorrow. But anyway, so people are different, right? Two scenarios. The man who fell from Earth, made black, right? And then Firestarter, remade with the same sort of white girl. The man who fell from Earth, so different because it's a black person and because we haven't seen many black people from outer space coming to Earth. We've seen Mace Windu, we've seen other black people possibly in Star Trek, which I think was crazy wild. But, you know, we're still waiting on a black planet. Even Brother from Another Planet seemed like he was running from from slavery, and the people pursuing him were white. So that didn't feel like a black planet. It felt like Earth 2. Anyway, when you switch the race, like they did in Man Who Fell from Earth, because the central character is different, it has the potential to change everything else. Everything else. The reaction to the different person, right? Whether it's race or other characteristics, everything else is capable of changing. So when I look at something like Firestarter, right? Firestarter looks like the same damn story from the 70s or 80s, and I'm not really interested. Now, mind you, they can do a Planet of the Apes or Hollow Man, you know, and just turn it up, right? Because again, like I said, race isn't the only characteristic. It is a major characteristic in America because it has been weaponized by fearful white people of black people, right? So they've oppressed the blackness. So when you change a character to black, it has the potential to change a lot of other things, specifically the reaction of everything around it. And for me, I even love the reaction of people that are in the theater with me, or the reaction on Instagram and Facebook of what? You know. So like when Michael B. Jordan replaced Johnny Storm, there had to be a little switch in who Johnny Storm was. I didn't really like that switch, but it was sort of a switch, you know. Sometimes they make a character black and then on to introduce gang violence and drug dealing, and that is whack, you know. But when you did it with Will Smith at Independence Day, he had to be, you know, a soldier, right? And in the Air Force, right? So they couldn't hood him up, but they did hood up Jada Pinkett. I mean, what's the girl's name? Vivica Fox. They did make her a stripper, but I don't know if she was an exotic dancer in the book or not. I don't know, right? Maybe it was a class thing, but if they didn't, that's foul. Will Smith is the king of this, right? So in iRobot, he did a little swap too, still had to be a detective, and they made it even cooler. They gave him a black chief, right? That was cool. And then, of course, his aunt had to be black. So it was cool, but, you know, nobody in this world, because it was the future, acknowledged that they didn't acknowledge race. You know, the robots didn't say, oh, they got a black cop, you know, which was cool. You know, the executive didn't think any less of him, you know, so they didn't have the racial undertones that we have in today's world in iRobot. But, you know, that's crazy to just do a straight remake, man. There's so much like a Firestarter. There's so much a fuel in the A. You don't have to make a black, but in a race swap or a culture swap, make her an obese girl. Make her really heavy, right? That would be different. You know what I'm saying? But you make a girl look the same. A straight remake. God, dog. Why don't she be Indian? Why don't she be Native American? Then, because when you do that, then you got to bring in all the Native American culture. You know, other Native American people might react. She might go hide out on a reservation. Then you got to deal with all of that reality. It just makes it so much more worth watching again. Now, mind you, Firestarter was not on my top list of anything. I mean, I can't think of a list of stories that Firestarter would be on the top of. I don't even want to see it again, right? I've saw it once. I don't see it again. Now, mind you, this remake makes it look like, you know, almost like, what is it? Not Rogue, Jean Grey's story with different powers, you know, but it's still trash, right? It just seems too similar. You know, they made her a superhero, you know, like a Marvel origin story. That's fine, yeah. Are you going to now add on another element like M. Night Shyamalan did with Unbreakable and Mr. Glass and bring them all together? Or, you know, or like if you're going to remake The Mummy, right, like Tom Cruise did, are you remaking The Werewolf? Are you remaking Frankenstein and going to do, you know, the fight thing all over again? Of course, Godzilla's been remade plenty of times, but they breathe new life into it. This doesn't seem like there's anything except a modern reboot. And for what? People are complaining about these stories that have been rebooted, and this is no better. And the cool thing about this one is that it could have been with some twist. Like I said, The Man Who Fell from Earth, I didn't even know it was an original until I Googled it, because it was so far off my radar and it was so long ago. Sure, I'm pretty sure there's people that's not going to know that Firestarter is a remake, but it's a Google away, and there you have it. And then when you see the trailer, it doesn't look any different. The Man Who Fell from Earth was a movie. Now they made it a series, so it does seem different. You know, it seems much more different. Okay, I don't even want to see the original. It's like I Am Legend. That was a remake. Third time remade it. Omega Man, and then I think the first one was I Am Legend, right? but you had different type of zombies in each one. I like the Charlton Heston joint. I think that's the one where the zombies was talking. Hey man, you gonna come out the house? We gonna wait here all night, my man. You know, and they weren't really zombies. They were degenerate street gangs. So like outside of his house was you know, the wild Bronx. He lived across the street from Escape from New York or the Warriors. he lived across the street from, you know, Death Wish apartment buildings. Anyway, that's it. This is not really a long one. I just want to, you know, for writers, right? Because we the ones that control all of this stuff. I mean, producers do, but you can't really ask somebody to write something so specific if you ain't a little bit of a writer yourself. Because just thinking of the idea is writing. So for writers and ideas, and let's just say creators, dudes, guys, ladies, be more creative, man. You know, understand that a character is changes everything. And if you don't do anything in your request to remake, rehash, revisit, revitalize, think about that. You understand? My next blog I'm going to do are new questions that the current world has introduced for science fiction writers to explore. You know, the world is ever changing, and therefore the changes present new questions, and those questions are what ifs, and what ifs are what fuel science fiction writers and science fiction in general. Is what people read it for and what we should be writing it for. We are the engineers of the world. We are to hypothesize about the world and the things in it. So please like, share, comment, subscribe, all of that. All right, I'm out of here. Happy May the 4th. I'll see you on the 5th, because I ain't loading this up until tonight.